Hey guys, it's Crypto Marie. She does it all, a little bit of everything. I'm going to give you some information about Tracy McGrady, how he feels about Steph Curry. Again, we have so many ex-basketball players, football players that have so much time and money in their hands. So what are they doing with their free time? Attacking new players, attacking players who are in better position than them to be future Hall of Famer. I don't know if it's pure jealousy or too much time in their hand. With all the respect for Tracy McGrady, I know he was once a really good basketball player for Orlando Magic. But in life, there is time for you to be the it guy, and you need to put that to rest. You need to put that away for a minute and leave other people alone. Let them do what they do best. Steph Curry has always been criticized, talked about because of his size. And I don't think it's fair because the man showed you what he's capable of. He showed you his talent, but somehow some people still find it to come after him and disrespect him. I don't think it's right. This is what Tracy McGrady said. I don't know about the longevity. Tracy McGrady thinks Steph Curry wouldn't have lasted in his era. At the end of the day, your era, this era, to me is the same thing. We still have the big guys playing. We still have guys with talent playing. So what are you talking about? What era are you talking about? And why you think Steph would not have lasted? It just doesn't make any sense. T-Mac isn't the only Hall of Famer who doubtably, if Steph Curry could handle the physicality of the past NBA era. Well, he's a Hall of Famer, so I don't know now what is his thing with Steph. Steph played the game just like anybody else. Why you worry about his size? It just doesn't make sense to me. Okay, let me see what else he said about the young man. He just have to ignore them. Comparing NBA era is always an interesting subject of discussion during various basketball podcast season. So when Tracy McGrady linked up with Shaquille O'Neal for a podcast talk last year, they talked about which current NBA stars they think would have fared well against them during their era. So you're going to bring Shaquille in this mess? According to T-Mac, it's hard to pick one considering the drastic change and the way the game is played. However, McGrady thinks Golden State Warriors star point guard Steph Curry fits the bill. The only thing T-Mac couldn't tell is whether or not Curry would have enjoyed a lengthy career back then due to their physicality. So you saying they play differently? They're not so physical now? Give me a break. I don't know, because I look at Steph. Right, he's a prime example. McGrady told Shaq on the Big Podcast. I think he could have. He's what I am saying. I think he could have played with us, but I don't know about the longevity. He's going to touch the floor more back then than he would now. And those, I think, injuries will pile up. I don't know. To me, it's the same thing. I don't see the difference in the game. Now everybody's playing their way. Curry would have been the same in the 90s. McGrady came up with his take by imagining Curry playing in the late 90s and the 2000s, as most of us known in the mid 2000s and all the way back to the early 90s NBA. The game was more physical. During that stretch, John Stockton was arguably the best point guard in the league. Like T-Mac, Stock also thinks Curry would have experienced almost the same thing. The way Stockton sees it, Chef Curry would have been a problem, but the constant pounding will eventually take a toll on Steph's body. There we go again. Size, Doesn't matter when it comes to the court. The man know what he's doing. Give him some respect for what he's doing now. Don't worry. He's not playing in the 90s. He's not playing in the 2000s. Why are you bringing this disrespect on the table? There are certain parts of that are appealing to be able to play without getting touched. I mean, back in the day, you fought over screens, you grabbed, held, nugged, and it was all legal. And it would take its toll on just about any shooter. Stockton on speculated, I think Steph Curry can adjust to anything. That's what I said. So would it impact him? You bet. But would he adjust? I think so. Yeah. All right. We're having a conversation now. Curry wouldn't have survived in the 80s. There we go. Now they bring to a different era. Not 90s, not 2000, because they think he could have defended himself. Now they say the 80s. Now what happened in the 80s? Both McGrady and Stockton have a point. When Curry came into the league, the bigs were no longer allowed to hammer the guards, who managed to slash their way to the rim. And in game scenario, that was very typical during the 80s. Okay. The kid was not in the 80s. Give it a break. I believe that Steph Curry is the greatest shooter God ever created. I don't think that's an argument. But let me share a conversation with you that I had with Isaiah Thomas. Isaiah Thomas said to me that if he was playing in our era, he would not have averaged more than 18 points a game, Steph A once revealed. Oh my goodness. This is crazy. Again, Tracy McGrady don't think Steph Curry would have survived the 80s, the 90s, or the 2000s. I said he could have managed and defend himself and do what he knows best, which is basketball. Subscribe and let me know how you feel. Bye.